We interrupt our regular programming to bring you an E-Track News weather alert. This is Sal Broker of E-Track News with the latest information on extreme weather that's making its way across the country. Let's check in with Wes Turn to find out what's happening in Still Waiting, Arizona. Wes.
Howdy, Sal. It's dry as a bone here. Not a job offer in sight, but under the right conditions, they're sure to start pouring in. Until then, job seekers are stockpiling positive attitudes and applying for other jobs.
Good for them. So you can't predict when a job offer might roll in.
That's right. You never know when you'll get a call or an email with a job offer, so you have to be ready for anything.
I bet it's tempting to take the first offer, especially if you've been waiting a long time. But job seekers don't have to decide right away. They can ask for some time to think about it. Have you heard of any job offers rumbling in the distance?
Not yet. We're seeing the occasional rejection, but no offers.
Ouch. It can be tough to hear bad news. How are job seekers handling it?
Most job seekers seem to be making the best of a tough situation and are using rejection to review their resumes and sharpen their job skills.
Good to hear. Thanks for your report, Wes.
Thank you, Sal.
Now let's check in with Breezy Day in Batten Down, New York, where hurricane winds are wreaking havoc on employment decisions up and down the eastern seaboard. Hello, Bree.
Sal, it's wild here. Job offers are rising fast, and job seekers are urged to come up with an emergency evaluation plan so they're able to make a decision when a job offer comes in.
I had no idea things had reached that point. The National Job Evaluation Center has issued an emergency bulletin urging job seekers to use the 4 W's to guide their evaluation of a job offer.
That's right, Sal. You should ask what you will do in the job, what it pays, and what you will wear. You should also find out if you need to pass a test, or a physical, or a drug screen.
You should find out when you'll work, the days, and the shift. And don't forget to find out the date you'll start and what time to arrive. Finally, you need to know where you'll work and where to go on your first day. They may be different.
Sal, I think you forgot who. Make sure to find out who you'll work for and who you meet on the first day.
Bree, what should job seekers do with this information?
Well, first of all, they need to remember that no job is perfect, so they may need to decide if the job is close enough. If a job doesn't meet your basic needs and wants, it probably won't work for you.
That makes sense. Also, they should make sure that you want to do the job and it's something you can do. Don't forget to consider the employer and the job salary and benefits. And remember to look ahead. Will this job help your career? Anything else job seekers should consider?
Well, job seekers should decide what to do if they like the job, but the offer doesn't quite meet their needs.
Good point. Some employers might be willing to negotiate a different salary or hours, but be careful. The employer can decide to take back the offer.
After that, it's decision time.
If you decide to accept the offer, call and tell the employer the good news. Repeat what you understand about the job and confirm the day and time you'll start. Then follow up with a note or email.
If you decide a job isn't right for you, call the employer and tell them you've decided not to accept the offer. Be polite and professional and thank the employer. You want to leave a good impression in case you want to apply for another job there in the future. Sal, we need to head for cover. Signing out. Bye, Sal.
Stay safe, Bree. Now let's get an update from Jack Frost in Wannajob, Minnesota, where they're experiencing a record snowfall of paperwork. Jack, are you out there?
Hey Sal, as you can see, a blizzard of paperwork has roared through town. It seems to be winding down, but job seekers won't be able to get to work until they plow through the forms.
We've just learned that I-9 and W-4 are closed in both directions while the forms are being completed. Looks like you're in for a long haul.
Fortunately, everyone knew the paperwork was coming, so they had time to get prepared.
What kind of preparations are we talking about?
Most people gathered their personal information and documents, so they're ready to complete the paperwork. We strongly recommend creating an emergency documentation kit that you bring with you on your first day.
Interesting idea. What should it include?
Your completed master application or personal information sheet is a handy reference because it contains a lot of the information you might be asked for.
You also should bring an original copy of your Social Security card to verify your identity and eligibility to work. A photocopy won't work, so order a new one if you've lost the original.
That's right, Sal. Otherwise, you'll have to show 2 forms of ID, like a picture ID, passport, or a certified birth certificate.
Do all employers use the same forms?
Every new employee has to fill out a federal Form W-4 and Form I-9.
The W-4 tells your employer how much you want deducted from your paycheck to pay your taxes. Employers use the I-9 to document that you've provided specific documents that verify your identity and prove you're eligible to work in the United States. The slowdown on I-9 may be caused by new employees trying to find missing documents.
Each employer may have other forms they want you to fill out, like personal information, emergency contacts, or benefit enrollment forms.
Employers also might ask you to complete a job application if you haven't already. Thanks, Jack. Hopefully you can begin digging out soon. Wow, I don't think I've ever seen such wacky weather in my career as a meteorologist. Let's check in with Sandy Beach to find out what's happening Surfside. Sandy, the rest of the country's experiencing extreme weather. How are things in Disclosure Point, Florida?
Well, Sal, we're experiencing some extreme weather here too. Extremely beautiful, that is. However, storms rolled through here earlier today when some workers with disabilities had trouble performing their jobs.
Sounds serious. What's the outlook?
I'm glad to say that things have cleared up nicely, thanks to a good disclosure effort and a few simple accommodations.
Ah, you must have called in the ADA. The Americans with Disabilities Act protects people with disabilities from discrimination and requires employers to provide reasonable job accommodations so all workers have an equal opportunity to succeed. I imagine a lot of high pressure built up before the storm passed. Were a lot of lawyers involved?
No lawyers were needed. Under the ADA, all you have to do is tell your employer that you have a disability that makes it difficult to do the essential parts of your job and ask for an accommodation so you can do your job better.
It's up to you to decide if and when to tell your employer. In fact, you don't ever have to disclose a disability. But if you don't, you can't ask for an accommodation.
That's right, Sal. A reasonable accommodation can be as simple as changing your break time or switching a job responsibility with another coworker.
That makes a lot of sense. Some people might use different equipment or partner with someone else or break the job into smaller tasks. They all lead to the same end result.
And they all are considered reasonable accommodations.
Well, you've certainly given us a lot to think about, Sandy. Thanks for that report, and you'll need to prepare for the next storm moving down the East Coast.
From Disclosure Point, Florida, back to you, Sal.
This concludes our E-Track News Weather Alert. Keep an eye on the skies and stay safe out there.